You all for the first time in a new year?
Yes, we noticed.
Yeah, apologies, work commitments, I'm afraid. Yeah, there you go. I've made it tonight. We'll start off with apologies for absence. Okay, any declarations of interest from members, please? No. Okay, Chairman's announcements. 3A. Central Bedfordshire Council press release, an 84-year-old council volunteer shortlisted twice at the prestigious National Award. You should have a copy of that in your trays. Yep. Another CBC press release, for safety's sake, take a break. Again, you should have that in your intro. Yes. Central Bedfordshire Youth Parliament Manifesto launch event on Monday the 23rd of March 2015. Is that in there? Right, the Central Bedfordshire Youth Parliament is a group of elected young people who represent the voices of young people on a local and national level and are actively involved in positively shaping their communities and making services more young people friendly. The aim of the event will be for Youth Parliament members to share with you their annual priorities and showcase their achievements. From this event, the Youth Parliament is hoping to strengthen joint and partnership working with local councils and organisations to ensure that young people's voices remain central in decision making across the local authority. We would appreciate it if you could support us at this event. Can you please confirm your attendance by Monday the 17th of February? The date is the 23rd of March. Time 5 o'clock till 6:30. The venue is the council chambers at Priory House, and they're looking for 2 councillors to attend. So if anybody is interested in that, can I please contact Leslie? Or they can email a young lady at Central Bedford's name I can't pronounce. Probably easier to contact Leslie at the office. She'll do it for you. 3D is CPRE Bedfordshire Matters, the winter brochure 14-15. There we are, in the office. Anyone wishes to have a look at that. 3E is a CBC press release. Council scores highly for adoption times. That is in your trays. Correspondence, important changes to reporting highway issues to Central Bedfordshire Council. Again, you should have that in your trays.
Mr Chair, while on this highways issues, has it been well and truly publicised of the new app that we've now been informed about, whereby if there's a pothole or a street lamp that's out that's owned by CBC, you can actually GPS it from your smartphone? Has that been advertised solely through the village?
Assistant Clerk, would you know anything else to that?
Okay, can we get a link that we get from there on from CBC onto our website if we can, please?
Okay, Councillor West.
Thank you.
3G is a CB press release, free flu jabs for carers. Councillor West.
Yes.
And 3H is correspondence received from Madeline Witalski and Emma Lacey. I believe they're residents of the village. Thank you very much for your letter received in December and for awarding us financial assistance of £100 towards our Jamboree fund. They will really help us achieve our target, and we appreciate that our local council are supporting us. The cheque should be made payable to Bedfordshire County Council, and we must submit the cheque by the 1st of March. As a means of thanks, we'd like to keep our supporters in touch. We would like to add the Town Council to our emailing list. There are likely to be 1 or 2 more newsletters plus a postcard from Japan. So that's from them, thank you enough.
Mr Chair, I'm sorry I didn't recognise the young lady's name, but the young lady is my neighbour. I only know as Matt
Yes,
Lane.
you
I
live
didn't
in St
recognise.
Peter's Avenue.
Yeah, I failure to declare an interest, I'm afraid. Please can be minuted. I didn't recognise the surname. I know her by first name only.
Right, agenda item 4 is the World War I Garden of Remembrance. A representative from the Royal British Legion will present details of a proposal for a World War I Garden of Remembrance.
Right, thank you, Chairman. I attended the committee meeting of the to discuss it a couple of weeks ago, and I recommended that they did a small rose garden on the entrance into the cemetery on the left-hand side, which would make it quite nice, with a plaque saying what it was for. That committee approved that. I've been looking at the rose, which is this is in Parkinson's. They do a red rose, which is a remembrance rose, which I think would be in the centre. Different colour roses around the perimeter of about a dozen altogether. The cost of that would be, I think, with the work and that and the plaque, would be around about £300. That would be okay for the council. Okay.
That's it, you, yeah?
Well, nothing. Unless you've got any questions.
Mr. Chair, can I ask a question of you? You said £300. Does that include the plaque, you?
Yeah. That would include that.
Okay, thank you.
And there's a second thing which I did ask Leslie if we could put forward at the time. She hasn't put it on the agenda, but if I can mention this, that speaking with the Reverend Jeffrey Bolt, our vicar, who spoke to me about why did we have the remembrance service in November at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And part of the reason is that we used to have the band from Potton to play for us, live band. Unfortunately, over the years they've grown old and they no longer play, so we now have to have the music played by recorded music. So, as far as the British Legion is concerned, we have no reason to have it at 3 o'clock still, and he would like it at 11 o'clock in the morning, following the service, I think it's 9:30 to the church, and then following through to the remembrance at 11 o'clock. We have no objections to that, and I propose that we do that. Has anybody got any objections to that?
No. Did everyone hear what Mr. Harper said? The proposal from Jeffrey Bolt, the vicar, in agreement with the British Legion, is that the service at the remembrance service is held at 11 o'clock in the morning, following the church service at 9:30 at the War Memorial, instead of 3 o'clock, which we traditionally had in Arlesey for many years.
Good move.
Yeah?
Nobody's got any objections. I'll get that put on the button with and can keep that going through the year so everybody knows what's happening
The reason was because it tied in with the use of a Salvation Army band, which is no longer played there now, and it's all by audio recording, isn't it?
There's no problem there.
Yeah, that does make sense.
Okay? Right, we'll do that. And I'm going back to the garden. I'm quite happy to help to do this rose garden.
There is an agenda item
16.
later on, 16, and I believe there's a couple of speakers in public participation as well, which is all tied into the same subject.
Yeah.
So our councillor's happy to discuss that slightly later on in the evening. Yeah.
Mr. Chair, can I put a motion forward to actually have the planning committee brought before item number 32, so the public can go home if they want to after the planning committee.
Yes, okay. Everyone agree with that? Councillors agree with that? No one disagrees with that. Councillor Holloway.
I've had a Councillor Baines has passed on, and probably will be here if you want to elect, but he has matters that he'd like to discuss on item 12 under finance. So I'd like to make a slightly flexible request that we defer item 12 until Councillor Baines is here.
Okay, do you know when he's roughly going to get?
He's thinking 8:30 latest.
Okay. Right, thank you, Mr. Harper. So moving on then to 5, which is public participation. I believe we have 3 speakers. So who wishes to go first?
Oh no, can I go first? Can I go first?
Ladies first.
I've got an idea based on what was it? I think I should stand. Right, I've written something to read out to you because I'm not used to this. And I will change some of what I've written based on what Hugh's just said. For those of you that don't know me, my name's Jodie and I've been heavily involved in the Arlesey Remembers You project. And I'd just like the councillors here to cast their minds back a few months to when I, via Councillor Wang at the time, proposed the council should take up the free offer of some trees from the Woodland Trust, which was part of a national scheme to create memorial copse, so to create a kind of community place of remembrance. While at the meeting, I understand you all kind of thought it was a good idea, but it was met with what I interpreted as a lack of enthusiasm to actually do anything. So it was agreed that if I was happy, on behalf of the council, I should apply and carry out the project, which of course I was happy to do. So at the time, the council suggested that the cemetery might be a good location. I consulted 2 independent horticultural experts. Both identified potential problems with the site for a copse, and I appreciate what Hugh is proposing is different, so that might be a bit out of the way, but we needed to look for a new location. So with the help of Acorn and Mr Harper, a second location was found. Unfortunately, it was deemed by the landowner to be unsuitable as it would be inaccessible to the public. So finally, another landowner in the village offered up an area of land which is due to be opened to the public in the summer, in conjunction with Central Bedfordshire, to form a country park. The idea of a memorial garden and small copse absolutely fitted his remit. It would be open to the public, it would be something new, something wonderful in the village. So since then I've secured donations of equipment, more trees, expert help from a local company and some donations from the landowner and indeed donations from residents itself through the ongoing activities of Arlesey Remembers You. When I initially saw the agenda for tonight, it struck me that items 4 and 16 were perhaps in conflict with the ongoing activity I've already mentioned. However, I'm slightly changed my tune because I am very supportive of the council creating and encouraging new green spaces, public spaces where we can grow things. I think that's a brilliant idea. However, I do remain to have some concerns that the council, who have already supported one project which is completely free to the public purse, I'd like to point out, are now supporting 2 memorial gardens. Well, not yet, potentially supporting 2. Would it not be better, if I may be so bold, as to suggest that the people from Arlesey Remembers You, that includes over 400 families that have been involved in the project that are residents of this village, the council, that includes you here, and the British Legion, the Stotfold and Arlesey branch, who have been incredibly supportive of the Arlesey Remembers You project. Why don't we incorporate the 2 ideas and do something together, rather than have 2 separate places that kind of shows a divide, shows tension that just seems a bit rubbish to me. Anyway, thank you for listening, and I hope that what I've said makes sense to you, and I hope that common sense will prevail. Thank you.
Thank you. Chris?
Okay, yeah, well, it's on the same subject. I did send a letter to all of the councillors going through the concerns that were raised with me as a result of reading the agenda. There was nothing specific in there about the memorial garden. Some of the points I made, are redundant because it's not going to be trees, as I understand it, and that was a concern because of what the arborist had said about a copse being unsuitable there, or at least it would cost the community a lot in 20 or 30 years' time. So really, if I pick out the key points, Jodie's covered a lot of what I said in my mail. I do believe it's going to be both confusing to the community and somewhat waste of expenditure, either the council's expenditure or British Legion's. I'm not sure where the £300 was coming from. We have got significant contributions. We do have a plan. We've got 87 trees now. I think it's a half an acre site.
Not quite sure.
And a sculpture looking at a memorial stone there. It'll have seating. It's going to be a peaceful area. It's going to be confusing to have two memorial gardens, I believe, and perhaps, as Jodie suggested, we should come together with just one. Thank you.
Right, thank you. And Andy Ward, yeah, Andy.
So yeah, my name's Andy Ward. Some of you will know me. I was a serving councillor here from late 2013 until September 2014. Anyone who knows me will also know that I've held the leadership of this council in contempt for some time.
Mr Chair, point, can we not have about contempt in the council? It's a public speaker about an issue, please, not to attack anybody, please.
Carry on. Please take note of what Councillor West said there, because we don't want any accusations.
I'm not sure what he said, but I'll take note of it. When I say leadership, I use the term loosely. The reality is that those who are responsible for the leadership of the council have, in my view, only ever exercised any form of leadership in matters that have been to the detriment of the village. Namely, the unstinting support of central beds, a preposterous master plan for Arlesey. And secondly, the shameless attempts to serve and protect one member of staff to the exclusion of all others and at the expense of the community. I believe that most of the issues that Arlesey residents feel so strongly about can be traced back to a fundamental failure to treat and manage staff properly and consistently. Whether it's hostility towards residents, closure of amenities, intimidation, or just mediocre service provision. For many years, the chairman of this council has failed to act on genuine concerns raised with him regarding major failings of the council in this area. Yet in November 2013, the leadership and the administration of the council failed to heed repeated requests by various members of this council to even consider the recommendations of the NALC Good Employers Guide. Why would anyone acting responsibly do that? Each month, a request was made to include this on the agenda, but this was denied on every occasion for almost a year. Who blocked this and why? This failure to act has led to turmoil and effectively a paralysis of the council. Since 2013, the council has faced numerous serious personnel issues, including desperately low morale, suspension of staff, prolonged absences, and resignation of two highly valued and community-minded staff. The impact this has had on the community has been apparent to all. The council has also faced legal action by at least one former employee. My understanding is that the leadership of this council has approved thousands and thousands of pounds of taxpayers' money to contest such claims, only for the first of which to be settled out of court. You may be wondering why I'm saying all this. Well, firstly, to aid visibility and to ensure that residents are under no illusion as to who I believe is at the root cause of these reasons.
Mr Chair, 12 out, please. And this
No,
is time
can you finish, because I'll just give him a brief reply after.
Okay.
But secondly, because item 26 on your agenda refers to the influence of the chairman. You may find this helpful for later. But finally, I want to ask the chairman of the council to give a full account of his actions and to explain why he, as a non-Arlesey resident, feels it's appropriate and acceptable to act in this way. You don't appear to be acting and working for the community, so why do you do it? And why, despite repeated calls over the recent term, have you failed to hand in your resignation? Arlesey deserves better than this.
Mr Chair, most of the items that have been mentioned by the former speaker come under 12A. So unless, of course, we're going to abandon 12A... and
Mr Chair, who's running the meeting? You're the chair. I didn't see Mr Workout.
You made. You let him speak and he started.
Well, he did put his hand up, though, did he? He was supposed
Comes
to
under
say.
12A, okay? And as most of these agenda items, the said speaker was a councillor when a lot of these were on agenda, okay? They come underneath 12A and breach of 12A. So if 12A is going to be wiped out on one issue, then 12A should be wiped out on other issues as well.
Okay, well, look, I'll just answer the resident, all right? Mr Ward, that is your personal opinion. That is not my opinion. Many of the things you said are inaccurate. There are many things that the residents do not know, not necessarily about the council, but also about yourself, which I will not divulge to them, which might make them have a different opinion of what you have to say. And the fact that you used this public event to make personal attacks on myself without any prior warning is totally unfair. It's not something that I would ever do to you, no matter how I felt about what you'd done or said if you was on the council. And that's what I wish to say about it. Okay? So, I've nothing else further to add.
Excuse me, Chairman, can I just...
You may...
No.
No, I just want to reply to what has been said at the...
well,
that's right.
we won't have an intervention because it will lead to
Yeah, I know.
a discussion between everybody. Right, so move on to 6 minutes of previous meetings. So 6A is to receive and approve the minutes of the Town Council meeting on the 6th of January.
Recommend approve, Mr Chair.
Approved. And 6B is to receive and approve the minutes of the extraordinary meeting of the 20th of January. I think you've already copied it, right? Yeah? Yeah. Happy with those? Yeah. Any matters arising in those 2 meetings? Obviously, you can't discuss 6B, any matters arising, but are you... All right.
Let's go around first.
All right, well, we'll start with Councillor Holloway.
Can I ask, did Councillor West get a copy of the minutes of the extraordinary meeting?
No.
Okay.
Councillor
Let's
Payne?
just propose that we should agree them.
No, I got that bit there. I got the bit there, and I left.
Right, good.
So I'm only proposing up to that bit there.
That's pretty cool. That'll work.
Councillor Payne, did you have your hand up?
No, I was scratching my nose.
Councillor West?
Underneath one, Councillor Holloway said that he was going to meet with the IT specialist to see about the new computers. Has it happened?
I didn't say that.
I believe you said that you were going to meeting with the IT specialist to see about a new computer.
I said, oh, maybe I said I wanted to, but no, I haven't.
Because the answer to
Councillor West, he hasn't.
No,
Right.
the meeting hasn't taken place.
So, as you said you wanted to, and it was agreed in here that you said you were going to, can you please have a meeting with him so we can get the new computer sorted out?
No, we won't be getting until we've done an analysis of what the council's requirements.
That wasn't what's been agreed in here.
Well, okay.
Then, Mr Chair, it's a block of council, what council has decided.
It's not, it's a work in progress.
Is this from the January meeting?
You're welcome
Yeah.
to do it if you think you can. I'll hand it over to you if you want. Oh, no, that was a stupid thing to say. No.
It's not stupid.
The sequence of events is to understand what your requirements are and then talk to the people that are going to supply. I haven't had time to go into great detail as to why. I haven't had time to do that analysis. once I've done the analysis, then I meet with the IT people, and we put it out to tender, and we take it from there. Any objections?
Makes sense to me.
But we've agreed to get some new computers in this financial year.
All right, well, I think the Assistant Clerk's going to make a contribution as well, so she might touch upon that.
Well, I contacted Sage about payroll.
Oh, yeah.
I can run the year end on the current computer. But it would, I cannot install the next version, so I wouldn't have the new tax codes, etc. But Resource Centre computers have Windows 7, and I'm going to install it within our software package by there. And run it from there.
Right, so that means at the end of March, that is giving the threat.
No, I can run year end there and then use one of their computers on the shut to run the table.
Well, when you have time, you need to sit down and have a look. It's not on the, despite the council, it's trying to get, it is not so make it a very low priority. Nothing I want
But
to do.
there is a workable solution.
That's right. Good, well done.
Okay, so that clears that one up. So, Councillor Orban.
I believe what was actually agreed that Leslie was going to get in touch with the IT person, get in touch with me.
That's right.
I don't know, but I think we'll leave it as it is. It seems to have resolved itself, okay.
All right, bring it on.
Anybody else, ladies? No? Okay. Right, item 8. Item 8 is the outcome of a complaint against Arlesey Town Council regarding the election of the chairman and vice chairman. This was at the May meeting. The May meeting last year. No, yeah, last year. Right. Right, I've been authorised to read this out. The letter is from Melanie Clay, who's the Chief Legal and Democratic Services Officer and Monitoring Officer of Central Beds. It's quite a long letter, so I hope you'll bear with me, and I'll start now. This is a complaint against Council